Long before the elbows and the echoes of a game turned sour, there was only a driveway in West Des Moines and a kid who couldn't stop shooting. Before the lights, before the league, Caitlyn Clark was already chasing something bigger than herself. Not chasing fame, not chasing headlines, just chasing greatness, with a ball that always seemed to listen and a hunger that never learned how to quiet down. In high school gyms packed tighter than lungs before a free throw, she made defenders vanish. She pulled up from places no one dared to imagine, and every time the net snapped, it sounded like a future being written one shot at a time. By the time college bowed in her direction, she wasn't just scoring, she was shifting the ground beneath women's basketball, drawing cameras, doubters, legends, and believers all at once. And when she walked into the WNBA, the spotlight wasn't waiting for her, it was built for her, blinding, burning, and unforgiving. Because when you wear the weight of a revolution, every step is louder. Every mistake is magnified, every moment becomes a referendum on whether you belong. And yet, she never flinched. But here's the truth, with greatness comes gravity, and gravity pulls challengers. Those who don't care what you did in college, those who want to test what you're made of now. And on a humid June night, one of those challengers stepped into the light with fire in her eyes and something to prove. Her name was DiJonai Carrington. Defensive nightmare, vocal enforcer, fearless in her approach and unapologetic in her intensity. And on that night, Caitlyn Clark wasn't just an opponent, she was a target. Carrington made it clear with every bump, every hip check, every look that lingered longer than it needed to. This wasn't just basketball anymore, this was a message. From the opening tip, it was physical, it was personal, it was loud. Carrington taunted, barked, pressed her body against Clark like the game owed her something, like silence was surrender and the rookie had no right to ease into greatness. Every possession became a collision course, every glance a challenge, every second dripping with tension so thick it seemed like the floorboards would crack beneath it. And in the corner of the court, watching without speaking, sat Sabally. Injured but present, a star in her own right, feeling the heat rise around her team, watching the energy twist into something meaner, heavier, watching as Carrington crossed the line not just in play, but in intent. Caitlyn stayed quiet, not because she was rattled, but because she knew storms don't argue with the wind. They wait, and when they arrive, they do not speak, they strike. The ball found her on the wing. A screen came, soft and quick. She dribbled once, maybe twice, maybe less. And then it left her hand. The shot arced high, clean, perfect, like a whisper slicing through a riot. And when it dropped, without touching anything but net, the crowd rose and the energy cracked, and for a moment, the flame arrived. Quiet, but undeniable. Sometimes karma takes years to arrive, sometimes it walks in slowly wearing the mask of patience, but other times it shows up in real time, bold, immediate, undeniable, and on this night it didn't wait. The moment the ball left Caitlyn Clark's hand and cut through the air like it had a purpose all its own, everyone in the arena knew. This wasn't just 3 points, it was punctuation, it was response. It was everything Carrington had been shouting met with a silence so loud it rang in the bones. Carrington paused, eyes still locked, but the smirk was gone, because when the moment comes and you realize you fed the flame too long, it's already too late. The shot went viral before the ball even touched the court again, not because of stats, not because of the score, but because of the stare. Caitlyn didn't gloat, didn't yell, didn't gesture, she looked. One glance. Not over the shoulder, not dramatic, just a glance like a mirror held up to all the noise, and in that moment, Carrington saw herself. The internet would name it karma. The fans would call it cold. But to those who know the game, it was balance. An energy shift so sudden it pulled the entire court into a new rhythm, one where silence was dominance and restraint became the deadliest weapon on the floor. And in the shadows of that shift, Sabally stood up. Not in celebration, not in triumph, but in truth. The storm had reached its edge, and she wasn't going to watch it spiral without speaking. In post-game moments where players often dodge fire, she walked right into it. Her voice calm, deliberate, but firm, she called it out, the targeting, the unnecessary heat, the danger of letting the emotions spill past the edge of competition and into something darker. Because this wasn't about being tough, it was about being reckless. Sabally wasn't defending Clark because she was a rookie or a name. She was defending the game, defending the idea that greatness doesn't need to be punished to be proven, that there's a difference between playing hard and playing to hurt. And when her words landed, they echoed. Not just in the locker rooms, not just in the media scrums, but in the soul of a league trying to grow without tearing itself apart in the process. This was no longer about one game. It was about what the league wanted to be. And the reckoning wasn't just for Carrington. It was for everyone watching. Everyone who had a hand in the narrative. Everyone who wondered what happens when greatness is forced to respond not with ego, but with execution. And in the middle of it all, quiet, steady, Caitlinclark just kept walking. Not toward the noise, but through it. The game ended, but the moment didn't. It spilled into timelines like a storm in slow motion, a clip here, a stare there, and suddenly the world wasn't watching the score. They were watching the silence, the eyes, the tension that didn't need sound to speak. Some said it was just basketball, others said it was something uglier, something sharper, something that didn't belong on that floor, and in that chaos, every frame of Caitlinclark's restraint became louder than words. Carrington's shove wasn't just contact, it was a symbol, a spark thrown at a fuse that had been burning for weeks, maybe months, maybe longer, and the fire didn't wait. It took over everything. Sports shows argued, fans picked sides, players posted and deleted. The line between hard play and targeted aggression blurred until no one could agree where it even was anymore, and in that confusion, Sabally didn't flinch. She stepped into the mess, not with rage, not with accusation, but with clarity, a voice steady enough to make people stop scrolling, because she wasn't defending Caitlinclark, she was defending the game, the future, the standard. You don't build a league by breaking the ones who bring eyes to it, she said without saying it. You don't celebrate growth by punishing greatness, not when it's wrapped in poise, in consistency, in respect for the jersey. And still, through it all, Caitlyn said nothing, no clapback, no post, no sideline outburst, because when your game speaks at that level, silence becomes your sharpest edge. But the silence didn't mean peace, not in the locker rooms, not online, not in front offices trying to understand how something as pure as a jump shot could become this complicated. What had started as a moment was now a mirror, showing the league exactly what it was and what it could become. Fractured, emotional, electric, divided between those who wanted the future and those who feared it. Because this wasn't just about a rookie anymore, it was about a spotlight that burned too hot for comfort, and the question no one wanted to ask out loud: what happens when the league's biggest story isn't the team, but the target? And in the center of it all, walking between the noise like a ghost with fire in her hands, was Caitlinclark, not running from it, not leaning into it, just existing inside it, like she knew this moment had to happen, because sometimes pressure doesn't crush you. It shows you exactly who was never built to carry it in the first place. There was no interview, no tweet, no subtle no hidden message in a post-game hoodie. Because Caitlinclark has never spoken through noise, she speaks through rhythm, through the arc of a ball leaving her fingers, through the kind of silence that demands attention, not asks for it. The crowd could feel it, something different in the way she moved, not angry, not shaken, but sharpened. Like all the chaos had only made her clearer. Like the league had pushed, and instead of folding, she recalibrated. In the next game, she didn't flex, she floated. She didn't bark, she buried. 3 after 3, cut after cut, and suddenly the conversation had no choice but to change. Because when the court becomes your voice, people stop debating your worth and start fearing your presence. And the players that watched her quietly, they started guarding her tighter. They started watching their fouls. Because no one wants to be the one who tries to break her and ends up building her legend instead. And the league, still torn, still growing, had no choice but to look her way. Because the cameras never left, the fans never blinked, and in a league that needs eyes and legacy, she is both. Not because she asked to be, but because she earned it every second, every shot, every step. This wasn't revenge, this was precision. This wasn't drama, this was destiny unfolding in real time. And in the quiet, she rose. Not above the game, but through it. Not louder, but truer. A reminder that the ones who speak the least often shape the most. Because when all the shouting ends, when the takes burn out, when the lights are still on and the scoreboard still matters, the game remembers who showed up. And when they tried to rattle Caitlyn Clark, she didn't flinch. She just answered, the only way she knows how. By turning pressure into points, and turning moments into myth. They said she didn't belong. They said she had to earn it. They said the league was different. And they were right. It is different. It's louder now. It's sharper, faster, more alive. Not just because she showed up, but because she stayed calm when the storm came. Because she let the game speak when everyone else just wanted to yell. And while they argued about how she plays, she just kept doing it. Every pass, every pull-up, every moment with a defender in her jersey and a crowd in her shadow. She delivered. Not for the cameras, not for the claps, but for the ones who came before and never got this kind of spotlight. For the ones who never got the replay angles. For the ones who had to be perfect just to be seen. Caitlyn Clark is not here to be liked. She is here to be undeniable. And now they see it. Now they feel it. Now they know. You don't change the game by asking permission. You change it by showing up and refusing to leave.